Hi guys, I wanted to share this because I wanted to bring out hope for parents who may be dealing with the system. Their kids might be taken away or they have an ACS case and ACS just won't leave them the fuck alone. So when I was 19, this was like in June, my kid's father and my 1 year old and my newborn, she was in there. I didn't have my youngest at the time because I was from a different man. Um, he was there. We got into an argument. He was just sitting there, in all honesty, just staring into space. I don't know if he just wasn't using and he was withdrawing. I really don't know. But long story short, I told him to just leave. I pushed him out. Was I right? No. Granted, he did punch me in the face. We did fought in front of the kids. I forgot who called 911 that day because this was a little while back, and I tend to fade a lot of like trauma that's happened in my life. That the cops did eventually come, a bunch of them, and he said I hit him first, and then I told him that he hit me first. Since it was like a cross complaint, basically, we ended up getting both arrested, and the kids was there, so that was bad. On top of that, I did have court that day, or a separate case, because my 6-year-old now, she, at the time was a baby. I had her 32 weeks. I was smoking cannabis throughout the mid and in my pregnancy. And let me just tell y'all, before y'all say anything, my kid is great. She's in school. She's doing well. She's doing well at home. Sometimes has fights with her siblings. Needless to say, she's great. She has a good appetite. I have her and my oldest for in-home therapist, and this is not really due to this. Maybe like potentially it could be, but to just help her with grounding skills and whatnot. Sometimes the in-home therapist, she, we check in here and there, like what I could work on separately. You already know. But anywho, I had court because with the cannabis, granted after I gave birth, they did drug test me and the baby, and at the time, of course, it's a no-no. It's understandable, I take accountability 100%. That's a separate discussion, though, that could be talked about later. We had court within the day. We were just trying to get people to take the girls, because at the time, like, my mom, she was willing to, but, in the past growing up, there were ACS cases, especially with me getting in foster care. They looked at that and they were like, no. And I found that really unfair because they seen the girls are good with my mom. They tried my dad, it was kind of the same thing. They tried everybody, but it was just always like some sort of excuse. Them saying, oh, we can't have them because of the apartment with one person from my family. And it was just a whole big hot mess. So that day in court, we took the girls after. I guess they wanted to have a second time to discuss. Like I said, y'all, I'm sorry. I really have blocked out a lot of this, but I just wanted to bring this out there because this is real shit. Don't mind if I'm stuttering too. It gets me nervous, but at the same time, I really wanted to speak out about this topic. We got in a call from a lawyer my mom got in, and they was like, oh, that we have to bring the girls back. That basically, we can't have them. They're going straight into the system. You feel me? We went to a hotel despite whatever they said for the night, to just get away from everything. And we didn't want, a removal to be just right there in front of the apartment door or whatnot. And it'd be traumatizing, So we went to a hotel that night in Queens. We thugged it out, me and my mom and the kids. I I ducked it out completely, but my mind was just all over the place. Priscilla, the youngest at the time, she was a newborn. I just had a baby, and my oldest was just nearly a year old, and it's like my my mind's just not there. You feel me? And it sucks, but I didn't really think much till like the next day. The removal did happen. Just the lawyer, ACS too. They were talking about services for me to do or whatnot when it comes down to drug groups, parenting classes, anger management or whatnot. I was ready to get at it. The next day I just signed up for everything, just called places. That's all you can do. I was like asking my lawyer, hey, do you know where ACS bought the kids? I really get the response I was looking for. And on top of that too, I already detoxed from weed as soon as my daughter was born, because I wanted to breastfeed, and is that. I had milk I wanted to give. I didn't get no response when I was telling my lawyer that, like, it was an iffy response, you feel me? No response from ACS, like 2-3 weeks flying, passing by, and still nothing. I was calling places to places I could think of. So then finally I ended up calling an ACS case on myself, because this was really upsetting me, bro. Like, before I called the ACS case, I really was contemplating on suicide. Like, I was thinking about hanging myself in my bedroom. I was drinking at the time, but I remember that day because it really hit me. Like, it hit me home run. Like, damn, these kids is my lifeline. You feel me? And what if something that happened to them and nobody's just telling me anything? Like, But what made me wanted to call ACS myself was those thoughts. And, it's like, this is not the life I want to live, you feel me? Like, so then, granted, this was like the next day early, not too late. I got in the call from ACS. They told me where my kids were. Like, they didn't tell me the exact location, but they said they were fine. They're in the city, of course. And they gave me like the foster care agency's info after I explained to them why did I call ACS to myself. Like, imagine I didn't do all that, how long it probably would have took for me to like find out anything, So like right away, ASAP, I called the foster care agency my kids were at. We were able to set up visits right away. That day, I think the first visit I went with my dad. I wanted some support, I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I was in foster care when I was 17. That's a different age, way different than from being a newborn and a 1-year-old. You feel what I'm saying? I see my daughters. I ran up to them and gave them the biggest hug. Well, Penelope, not the baby, not Priscilla. She's gonna walk in. She's just a baby. You feel me? I said hello to the foster care mom. We got a visit set up. I got to speak to the social worker after. We made up a plan. We had court a couple of times within, since the girls weren't in my care for 6 months. And within that time, even before the visit started, I had starting up actually a drug program. This was in the Bronx. Vortex or Vertex? I don't even know. It was a drug outpatient treatment center. They also did parenting classes, anger management classes, just everything. I was going consistently to group and doing drug tests ACS asked for. My kid's dad was like having his own separate visits. We had a visit together at one point. I just felt though that it was all fake with him. Like, with me, it was really genuine. But I wasn't really thinking too much about it, but I felt that energy, especially like during the visit me and him had, despite our own relationship, you feel me? But granted, we had a court meeting one day. This was before I got my kids back, before we knew. My lawyer was fighting hard because I was telling him like tea with the foster care agency and certain things they was doing. He was fighting hard in that conference room, like, for me to get more time or just get my kids back, point blank, period. And granted, we had court soon enough. It was either me getting more visits or them just coming home, and they ended up coming home. The day when they was coming home, the girls were there, the foster mom and her mom. She was all like, watch them be back. That was upsetting.